Chapter 1. A pair of icy hands clamped around my neck before I could wrap my head around what was going on. Going somewhere? Don't you want to divorce me? Still bewildered by the sudden turn of events, I was dragged into a black van. The interior was pitch black, but I could feel a pair of handcuffs being locked around my wrists. When the door slammed shut, the hands wrapped around my neck once more. My heart hammered against my chest, and my body began to shake uncontrollably when the air was slowly squeezed out of my lungs. I treat you so well, honey. Why do you insist on divorcing me? I mustered every bit of strength I had left and stammered. There's been some sort of misunderstanding. I'm not married, and I'm not your wife. What nonsense are you spouting, bitch? My words only enraged him, causing him to tighten his grip around my neck. Is she out of her mind? Why did she say that to him? Why would she tell him that she's not married when they're currently in their divorce cooling off period? Her husband has a manic personality. She's practically digging her own grave by saying that. He might let her live if she calls off the divorce and concedes to him right now. My head spun as I watched the red comments fly across my vision. Although resentment and reluctance churned within me, I knew I couldn't continue being stubborn when it became increasingly difficult to breathe. I immediately began pleading with the man. Please let me go. I can call off the divorce. Let's talk about this. Just let me go first. The man paused, his grip around my neck loosening a little. Are you serious? You're not lying to me, are you? I'm being completely serious, I exclaimed in a rush while gasping. I was a fool. I didn't appreciate how good you were to me. You always treated me so well. You worked hard to be the breadwinner of the family and always put my needs first. I shouldn't have impulsively suggested that we get a divorce. My stomach twisted as I spouted those insincere words, but fortunately, the man slowly loosened his grip around my neck. I collapsed onto the seat, gasping for breath. The back of my shirt was drenched with sweat. The man remained silent for a moment before he got up and moved to the vacant seat opposite mine. Despite the darkness that surrounded us, I could sense his murderous gaze fixed on me. Chapter 2. My hypoglycemia started acting up then. I hadn't eaten dinner yet since I had been working overtime. On top of that, my emotions were running high. My head began to spin, and I felt like I was on the verge of passing out. I have low blood sugar. Can you give me something to eat? I pleaded. The man rose to his feet the moment the words left my lips. My body stiffened from shock before I hurriedly shrank back against the seat. He leaned down and moved closer to me. He gripped my chin with calloused fingers and forced me to look at him. My heart raced in my chest at the sudden lack of distance between us that almost felt strangely intimate. What was the man planning to do? Was he going to strip me of my clothes and take nude photos of me? Or was he going to dismember me? I clenched my fists. My entire body was shaking violently, and I didn't dare breathe too loudly. This better not be one of your schemes, the man hissed before he released my chin. I breathed a sigh of relief as I watched him get out of the van and walk toward the trunk. For a split second, I considered throwing the door open and making a break for it. But when I remembered how weak I was at that moment, I quickly discarded the idea. The man unlocked my handcuffs and offered me some bread. I greedily stuffed the bread into my mouth, assuming that the man had finally calmed down. However, just as I wanted to eat more to build up my strength, the man snatched the bread out of my hands. He grabbed my hair in the next second and glared at me. I treated you so well and granted your every wish. Why did you toy with my feelings and swindled me out of my money? Pain shot through my scalp. I began to insincerely plead with the man again, making sure to make my voice sound as choked up as possible. I'm sorry. I only made those mistakes because I was immature and stupid. I'll never do it again. I swear. The man finally calmed down and sank into the seat across from me. I relaxed a little, but sweat continued to pour down my back. He kept talking about taking revenge, but his plans completely fell apart when he came face to face with her. He's totally a hopeless romantic. She knows what she's doing. She managed to talk him into calming down. I bet he cherished her like a priceless treasure before she brought up wanting a divorce. This is true love. The comments continued to fan the flames of the situation. However, I only felt wronged for suddenly getting caught up in this mess, especially since I didn't even know who the man was. You keep saying that you love me, but do you actually understand me? Why don't you take a closer look? The man looked up at me, his eyes flashing stubbornly and coldly. Alicia Sinclair, the only daughter of the Sinclair family. I saw you for the first time in an alley when I was 10 years old. I've never forgotten about you ever since. Your waist and hip measurements are 24 inches and 35 inches, respectively. Your star sign is Cancer, and you love eating sweet and sour ribs. You hate cilantro, and you're scared of the dark and spiders. You always drink hot chocolate when you're on your period, and you like to prop your foot against the wall when you're sleeping. I was completely dumbfounded by the man's detailed descriptions. This guy must be crazy about her. He watched over her for 15 years. He knows every little thing about her. Let's see how this gold digger is going to talk her way out of this situation now. My head spun as the comments continued to zoom past. I don't even remember some of the things you mentioned. Had I been transmigrated into another world? Or did another woman with the same name as me get involved with the man? But why did this other woman drag my name through the mud? Her actions even caused me to be labeled as a gold digger. Chapter 3. I refused to die for no reason. I had to explain the situation to him. You must have mistaken me for someone else. I've never been married. You'll know that I'm telling the truth when you look through the marriage registration system. My name won't show up in any marriage records. I've also saved all my photos in the cloud for the last 6 years. My personal album consists of photos of my daily life. I don't have a single photo with a man. The only people I chat with are my coworkers about work and my family, who check in on me every day. I've never talked to any potential partners, let alone argue with someone about marriage and divorce. My vision was obscured with a flood of comments the moment the words left my lips. Oh my god, has she lost her mind? Why is she still being so stubborn when she's in such a dangerous situation? Seriously, does she think that she can talk her way out of her predicament? Does she not realize who she's dealing with? I'm done. I have no idea what her plan is. Is it possible that she's not lying? But no one's going to believe her. The man suddenly leaned toward me and plucked my phone out of my pocket. His fingers flew across the screen as a hint of barely discernible confusion flickered in his eyes. He then searched through my cloud until he found my personal album. Hope bloomed in my heart then. I was convinced that the man was finally going to believe me. However, the man suddenly let out a low chuckle in the next second. He hurled my phone to the ground before clamping his hands around my neck again. Do you take me for a fool? I didn't. She's way too gutsy. She's still trying to lie to him even though the cat is practically out of the bag. He's probably not going to forgive her this time. She's so terrible and stupid. She's basically signing her own death sentence by trying to come up with more excuses. I'm betting a bag of chips that she's not going to survive the night. Let's see what happens next. I felt like I was teetering on the verge of a breakdown as I read the comment. You've got the wrong person, I exclaimed. I don't know who did it, but someone stole my information and impersonated me. I have no idea who you are. Why won't you believe me? Why? I wondered who the malicious mastermind was pulling the strings behind the scenes. Why did they frame me like this? I silently swore that I wouldn't let that person off the hook, even if I had to turn into a ghost and haunt them for the rest of their lives. Her panic looks genuine. Did someone actually impersonate her? Oh my god, is someone using her as a scapegoat? Maybe the impersonator was the one who fooled around with the man, and now, the real one is forced to bear the consequences of their actions. But how can someone fake a marriage? The man looked sick when he was going through her phone just now. He must have seen something devastating. This is getting really interesting. Who's the one who transmigrated into this world, her or the other woman? We have to keep watching to find out the truth.